It's 25 after 1. It's the Friday edition of All Angles here on eNCA. I'm William Lahong. Despite Santaco reaching a settlement with the city of Cape Town, tensions between the two warring sides are simmering. In fact, at the center of it all is the impounding of minibus taxis. The Taxi Association claims that the agreed terms that saw the end of the strike in the mother city last week have been breached. An urgent interdict has been brought before the Western Cape High Court to stop the impoundments. But the court has just ruled against Santaco. In fact, our reporter on the ground on the story who's following the developments is Nobesuthu Hejana, who joins me live right now. Nobesuthu, what is the latest in this ongoing battle between the city and the association?
So, William, you will remember that on the 10th of August, before Santaco called off its strike, there were agreements between the City of Cape Town, the provincial government, as well as Santaco, that the City of Cape Town will continue impounding vehicles based on 3 conditions, and that were if the operator does not have a license or a PDP, or if the operator does not have the permit for the vehicle, as well as the unroadworthy of the vehicle. Now, Santaco then over the weekend said the 14 vehicles, some of them were impounded outside the agreed upon terms before calling off its strike, and also suggesting that 1 or 2 vehicles were impounded for operating off route, which was not part of the 3 initial conditions that they agreed on with all stakeholders. But yesterday, Judge Derek Vella told Santaco in court that they needed to prove beyond reasonable doubt that those 2 vehicles out of the 14 were indeed impounded outside the agreed upon terms. But then he also said that Santaco needed to prove such, and then the City of Cape Town's defense lawyer, which were the first respondent in the application, they told Santaco that the City of Cape Town had indeed gave opportunity to Santaco to say, if you feel like we are impounding unfairly, bring the documents or the impounding notices so that we can check and also refer the matter to the NPA and make representation if you feel like we are impounding out of those conditions. However, Santaco could not provide those notices or proof, and then the City of Cape Town's defense told the court that the matter should be struck off the roll because there was no evidence that suggests that they were doing the impoundments outside the agreed upon terms. And this morning, or rather this afternoon, we've heard that indeed the order was given by the Western Cape High Court that the City of Cape Town should continue impounding based on the agreed upon terms, and also the court is asking Santaco, or ordering Santaco, to share the conditions with all of its members so that they are aware what they agreed upon terms, to remove the confusion on what was not part of the agreement. And in about few minutes we will speak to the Mayor of Cape Town just to react on this judgment, and later on obviously we will also be heading to Santaco's offices to find out, how well are they taking this order, and also whether they will be sort of like appealing it if they want to, or they still feel like the city is acting outside their agreed upon terms.
Of course, Nobesuthu, earlier in the week we had spoken to JP Smith, who was insisting that the premise at which they are approaching this entire impounding is to protect the commuter, and the commuter is at the center of this, because when there's a strike, the commuter is affected, their livelihood is affected. What else can you add?
Certainly, and the City of Cape Town's maker member for safety and security did mention that, all they're doing is based on the agreed upon, or also the National Land Transport Act, so they are not acting out of the existing laws, and them enforcing this is to ensure that commuters and other road users are safe. And we also heard from different commuters yesterday when we went to the Mitchell's Plain taxi rank just to find out how do they feel about this dispute, and do they have fears that this may lead to another stay-away. And someone was saying that, he hopes that they reach an agreement or a settlement, because the taxi industry does play a vital role in communities, not only in the Western Cape but throughout the country, because most people, they use it as their primary mode of transportation, and saying that, I mean, if all other road users are expected to abide by the laws, then the taxi industry as well must do the same. I mean, also the taxi industry sometimes does say that they feel like they're targeted, and it's something that was also by their representative in court, and they did argue that. However, the judge then said, I mean, if you can't provide substantial evidence, then we can't take this as a submission, because it's by hearsay or someone's experience, but there's no definite proof that the taxi industry is being targeted. Something that they always talk about, that the city of Cape Town goes out of its way to ensure that rules are only enforced when it comes to the taxi industry, but it's different for other road users. But hopefully this order will sort of like assist both parties, or all parties, because we do know that that task team continues to deliberate what are minor offences and what are major offences, something that Santaco had approached the city of Cape Town to try and resolve, as they're saying that, I mean, or they're alleging that the city is unfairly targeting them. But the city of Cape Town obviously saying that we are using the law based on the current existing laws of the country.